Welcome back to our second episode of Different Shades. You're here. I'm here, Sheila and Jamal. And today's conversation. Last time we had a conversation about cannibalism, which was a bit weird. So I just want to say our conversations will probably be along that line, most likely. So
yeah, it's okay.
No, in this one,
I don't want to talk about them, so let's talk about them together.
So there's this thing going on. I don't know if it has started here yet. I'm not sure I've seen anyone, but now here it's just a joking thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is going on in the States eventually starts spreading like a disease into our nations. So this identity crisis people are having. I've seen situations where people are identifying as they, them, what, but the one that shocked me the most is identifying as a cat. As a nursery child, you're 60-something-year-old man. What I don't know. What is it? I don't know if it's
identifying as a black person when you're a white person.
I could go with that.
You could go with that. You'd be okay with that.
No, as in I could pretend
you
right
could
now.
pretend.
Maybe I should start saying. By the way,
I'm a black person because there's an actor. She's I think an American actor or author called Rachel something. She's white, born to white parents, but she says she identifies as a black person.
The one was pushing some what's the thing? The one with the curly hair.
Yes, the one with the curly hair. She was one going for that thing of white lives, all lives matter. When people were going for Black Lives Matter, and she's like, me, I identify as a black person and what. But I remember someone telling her off, not only Dave Chappelle, but different black authors, like, yeah, you can do your identifying thing and will not go there.
Yeah.
But black is a culture. It's beyond. It's a heritage that has existed. Do you have any of these things that you're talking about? Like, is there slavery in your culture? Do you have that in your background that you feel like things that have determined how you act or react to police, react to probably political movements? You know, it's not just about your color and what, it's beyond that. I think that's why they have not yet come up to say they identify as Africans. What if I also say I don't need a visa, I identify as an American?
Me, I'm French.
Me, I'm French. I identify
don't speak
as...
the language, but deep inside my blood that's flowing is French. So
you know,
give me my passport.
Give me my passport. Oh, give me. I don't need a visa to go to France.
I just have to go.
I just have to go the way I want. I don't know if it's really reasonable, but if it's right, but I feel like, okay, I also don't know what is really bringing all these identity things, but I understand, not that I understand where they're coming from, but like, do you?
To some extent, you can try.
I can try, maybe. But as you said, a 6-year-old saying they identify as 13, that is someone becoming a pedophile very soon. Like, he will sleep with a young, very small kid and be like, I'm a child from within. And I felt like
there's this famous, okay, she's not famous, but infamous woman who actually, she took all the time she could to turn herself black. Like the skin color, she puts on what kind of foundation, she thinking her butt, her boobs, like she's really going for looking like extra black. And
she's American?
She's American. You know, Americans are just weird. Now, Kale, that's okay. That's one you can try.
Yes.
But now the people who come, it's going too much to now the kids, because there's a nursery school teacher who was interviewed, and she's saying like the kid comes and the kid says the kid identifies as a cat. And then the whole time I try to talk to the kid is just meowing. And then you cannot even talk to the kid, like be strict to the kid and tell the kid, stop playing around.
Because the parents are like you're infringing on their rights and
their rights, so you can get problems. So you just have to be there and listen
how
to the cat
about people
meowing.
saying them and they? Like, were they lonely at some point? Or you have a lot of like invisible, like, I really don't know. You have like invisible friends that... Why am I identifying as a them?
I don't want to say that it's almost like schizophrenia, because you have multiple personalities.
You have multiple personalities,
so what if they also have multiple personalities, and that's
maybe they do. Why I think we are Africans, especially Ugandans, have not yet jumped on this. We have not yet jumped on this bandwagon because we have not understood it. Should anyone understand a bit of it?
Yeah, but I think, as in us, what I think about Africans, okay, me personally, we have bigger problems.
Yeah, we do. We
have
really.
bigger problems.
You
You're not
can't
going
be
to be
calling
there.
yourself them.
Your problem during the day when you wake up cannot be like, you must call me a he because I identify as a he. That is not my problem. I'm looking for one now, what those kind of
All
things,
different other
your
things.
house, how you're going to maintain. Like maintenance, look at money values.
Exactly. We are still looking for the iron sheets. But now you're here calling yourself them.
Like, you have to call me as them, but you called me by my dead name. What the hell? That is your birth name.
Was Dolja, is it called Dolja Cat? Was she imitating or she was just being in character?
She was being in character.
Hey, I was just making sure because we'd start listening to cat music.
Okay, so tell me all about this. Wow. I mean, who made it? Wow. Wow. Okay, so something a little different. So, what was your inspiration for tonight? Be honest with me and go into detail. Wow. 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 So, what are you excited to see in there today? Wow. Is it your first Met? Wow. I'll see you in there. Wow.
She was in character. We just hope.
Yeah, but me, the interviewer, would be like, no, like, at least say something. You'd been talking to others. I don't know if she eventually talked to her, but she was talking to the others.
Yeah.
But she played the character really well.
I think Dave Chappelle was like, you don't find this thing a lot with black people because we already have so much segregation on blacks that is going on. And for him, of course, jokingly, he said he assumes that these are things brought out by white men who are the most privileged in America, and they're just looking for things to get themselves in different spaces and what to also be part of exactly to be part of conversations.
Gay men do not really fly anymore. Like,
they don't.
Just
yeah,
normal.
like you're just like you're normal.
Yeah, so you need to be a bit extra. Be like, no, there was one who was a trinary or something like that.
Now what?
She identifies as a man some days, other times a woman, then other times she's both.
So that one can appear in a woman's bathroom, women's bathroom showering.
And it's a chick. It's a chick. She's
or a male bathroom showering and then make it look like today I identified as a man.
Just because I don't have that cat thing in me. But if I was a woman, I would also just go to the male bathroom.
But I'm very sure here, no one would mind about you. They would just leave it until you get tired.
You're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah,
you as a babe taking yourself. Something can happen and be like, what brought you here?
What brought you here? Yeah. What are you doing? You're not walking in the line of danger.
Yeah, man.
Let's rep here and we see if you're really a man.
Let's see if you're born like a man.
Anyway, the other one would, I think, I've watched an episode of Black, it's, what is it called? Atlanta still.
Yeah.
Atlanta, where
you're a fan.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Childish Gambino's writings and all. He writes an episode where it's a black man who is, I think, 16, identifying as a 70-year-old white man working in Coca-Cola. So he talks as someone working there, and so they were interviewing him, then they interviewed the mom. They're like, that stupid ass nigga wakes up, he does nothing. He just walks into the garage, sleeps there, then he comes back, says he's from work at Coca-Cola.
An episode of Boondocks also where there was a blind man, a black blind man.
Yes.
I don't know if it was Rufus or someone.
Ruckus who says, no, for Ruckus, he's black.
But he thought he was white.
He thought he was white.
Until someone
Wait, is
told
Ruckus
him.
black? Yeah. Ruckus is black until someone told him, you're black.
You're black. He's like, no way.
He
thought he was white.
The time he wanted to meet to meet some country musician and white racist country musician who comes. So he comes to meet him because he used to write like anonymous letters to the guy, not anonymous, with his name.
Yeah.
So when the guy finds him, they're like, hey, fan letters, comes like to visit him and the guy asks him, so where is your boss? So he pretends that, no, I'm the worker, he's out working, but you can spend time with me. He just says, so the next day the guy also tells him, you know the first time I came, I thought you were the guy who used to write, and not knowing you were a nigger, so I can't really tell you certain jokes or it can't really be prejudicial to him.
Yeah.
In other words, of course, approving the point that country music is actually racist. But yeah, I also feel like A black man identifying as white.
Great, just go and do it. If you can say anything.
Yes.
Can go, like there's a skit, this guy of what's it called? Wilding Out.
Yes,
There's one of
Wilding.
the guys, he has like a video where he's being arrested, he's going to jail, and they say, we've sentenced you, you're guilty. That guy is like, no, but I'm not going to jail. That guy is like,
Why?
Well, why? Well, because I identify as not guilty. Okay, like that. But you're guilty is like, no.
No, I identify as not guilty.
Then he looks at the guy. Like, what you going to do?
Yo, but
it's becoming crazy.
it's becoming too much, man. But again, I'm very sure it's going to come this side. But when it does, you're walking in line of danger, man. I'm also very sure that no one is going to mind you, because even in Uganda, very soon people are not going to mind.
I think the moment
things.
people stop giving it attention, it's like a child who keeps shouting,
who keeps shouting and what. You know,
eventually
it used to be LGBT, it became Q. They're adding other letters to
there are
it
so many letters.
that actually gay people are feeling like, man, you guys are tying yourselves on us,
no,
man.
Lesbians have no, like, really, what's so special about you?
Yeah, you're like, and it will no longer become a forum. You'll stop being a minority group. These people are just creating minority groups for themselves.
Other people want to be minorities, so you take it.
Because when you're minority,
you get more privilege.
Added. Yeah, you get.
Because there's now, what I don't understand is, especially for men who turn into women to only sleep with women.
With women.
Just stay a man.
That's Kardashian's.
I didn't want to mention, but yeah, most of them are doing that. Yeah.
Like, now she wants to turn back, by the way. I don't know.
There are actually situations where videos that are of, especially now that they're pushing the agenda to kids,
yes.
there are videos of kids coming out at an older age, and like, there's some chick who is advocating for like this thing to stop. Because they turned her when she was, I think, from like 13. She started changing. And now she's confused. The depression that they told her was the reason as to why she's like that didn't go away. So she realized, like, they just sold her something, an idea that was just not there. And now she can't even be a proper woman because she changed.
She changed, man.
And now she can't even be a man. She's just lost.
Why is it that a couple hundred years from now, if you dug up my body, they're going to go, yeah, that was a woman. Had babies. I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male through synthetic hormones and surgery. I will never be a man. Is it transphobic for me to tell the truth?
Can you tell me about the procedures that you had?
I've had 7 surgeries. I've had 1 stress heart attack. I've had a helicopter life ride with a pulmonary embolism. I've had 17 rounds of antibiotics. I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra for 17 months. This is wrong on so many levels. For the first time in history, a marginalized group has a huge dollar sign on the top of their head. Every child that they convince is transgender and in need of medical transition, it generates $1.3 million to pharma.
Was there any real discussion of the risks and the side effects? And
No, there's not. And I know that people want to think that there is, but there's not. The truth is that medical transition is experimental. We have studies that said that medical transition helps mental health with kids. They've all been retracted, modified, changed. But the only long-term study tells us 7 to 10 years is when transgender people are the most suicidal. We have 5 children's hospitals in the United States promoting that.
what?
That's a phalloplasty. That's a bottom surgery. We have 5 children's hospitals in the United States telling girls that they can be boys at $70,000 a pop in a surgery that has a 67% complication rate. That will kill me from infection. I have 3 kids. At the age that they're doing this to kids. I'm not transphobic. I love my kids, and I love other people's kids, and you should too.
You know, one thing about us, Sheila, is when we start being God, man cannot be a god on his own. We're going to mess up because I feel like that is us
That's
being
just
God.
too much power.
Yeah, you're getting
just
too
trying to
much
create.
power to be able to change certain things and what. You could change your things
To
in the world
even
and
go
what. Now,
against the laws of
yeah,
nature.
the laws of nature and all. I think we're really running into a very red line, and me as Jamal, I will continue not identified. I will remain the way I am because it's tiring.
I mean,
man.
back in the day, you'd have someone who is very, like a girl who is in a masculine energy. She's a tomboy. It was just as simple
was
as that.
just simple
A
as
guy
that.
was just,
They
okay.
just say probably man have male pheromones are more, or not she has less female,
hormones.
yeah, and the male and which
It's
is,
not even about that. It
you
was
don't
even
have
just,
to go and change.
you were just comfortable being like that.
yeah.
And that was, you
And
didn't
that
have to
was
go and
very
change your
okay,
whole
and
body.
change
Yeah.
your whole body,
But
yeah.
now they're telling you, you must, because you'll not be
You
comfortable.
will not be comfortable.
Yeah.
I was watching Botched and they were telling some of those people that now that part is going to rot. You're like, what?
Good.
What? You
Let me tell you about what this surgery is about. First, you're a man turning into a woman. So they
Yeah.
cut off your
your genitalia.
your genitalia, and then they have to make like a hole that's supposed to be like the female genitalia. Now you have to keep dilating. By dilating, you have to put something and keep opening this every day, so that it doesn't seal up. Because naturally, the body will heal itself because that is not right. That is basically a wound. So it has to heal, so it starts sealing up. So every day, depending on how the surgery went, you have to do it.
Yep.
Other people, if it
Right.
didn't go well, you have to do it more than once in a day.
Yeah.
And then you could also get infection. And then that means now you have other kind of problems. You're on medication the rest of your life. Now the surgeries are like $70,000. If it doesn't go
Those are not issues for broke
Those are not
people.
issues
A
for broke people.
person
You
cannot
don't
start
have-
saying he identifies. Then you what? It goes to a go fund.
and then
And people
I'm being
fund money
mistreated at home.
and
Nobody
what-
understands me. Fund for me.
Nothing.
70,000.
70,000.
So if that surgery doesn't go well, you have to go through another surgery, which is another 70,000. The more surgeries you have, the more money. Then at some point, insurance starts dropping you because they cannot afford to be spending that kind of money on you.
On you, man.
And then you get complications where you have to take medication throughout your life. Then now that's already a bill on its own. Medication alone is probably costly. And now you're stuck in a place where, say you have an infection, you can't really, I don't even think you enjoy the sexual part of it because you don't really have the same feelings a woman has. You get,
No,
it's not
you
the
don't.
same.
Yeah,
You just
it's
have
different.
alcohol and maybe
You're
all
just a
you're just, I don't say you're faking it, but you're basically
You're
faking
basically
it.
faking it,
Because I
yeah.
do not think you have the same sexual pleasure
No, you don't. And
as a woman.
when they do that, do they menstruate? Or you have
You
to
can't
force
menstruate.
blood to...
I don't know where you're going to force it from
I
your
don't
pee
know,
hole.
maybe they dilate.
Your pee hole. Menstruation comes from a
Crazy.
uterus. You
Yeah.
get. So if you don't have the uterus, you cannot menstruate.
You can't. But
Though
I think I
the-
saw
though the
something
pills-
that they're trying to create some stuff where men cannot.
Yes, now they're
What
actually.
are we trying to do? Now, you know, for some women are actually feeling very annoyed of feminists. Like, now they're trying to replace women and what.
They are. It's men
But
who
that is
couldn't
actually what-
succeed. Men who couldn't succeed in their world, they're now coming to dominate this.
this other side.
Now they have actually put a lot of money into trying to get men to actually have uteruses. So they want to transplant the uterus into the male body. But now the weird thing is there are women who have actually had problems without having kids. Why couldn't you do that for them?
Yes.
But now when a man wants
Exactly.
it,
Why couldn't
when a
you do
man
that?
wants
When
it,
a
you
man
can do.
wants it,
You can
actually
climb
create
Mount
and go
Everest
back
if you
and
want
add
to.
and to make sure.
It's just unfair. It just shows you it's a man's world. Siganye, Jamal, you
Yeah,
men.
no, but it is a man's world.
Good. Although, defend them.
Beyonce still says, who runs the world?
I tell you how we're running it when men are entering
If
our
Beyonce
party.
has said it, man, who are you to refuse? Who are you, Sheila?
Women need to know their power. We can run the world. That is
women
the
need to know
truth.
their power. That
But
is very true.
it's just ridiculous. It's agenda that's going around.
Yeah,
And the moment it comes here,
especially here where there is
Anyway, at
limited
least we're
information
still
and what.
struggling with
I
that.
remember telling you about a girl who was telling me that she's feminist. I was like, I didn't know. And I asked her, so what is your definition on feminism? She's like, I'm dating a trans man.
people don't even know what they're doing. They're just going with the
Exactly,
trend.
that's what I was telling you, that here
People don't understand.
understand a lot of things happening and they just want to copy and paste.
They just want to be unique. Everyone just wants to be
and yet
unique.
You know, in law, I think one of the things we learned way back was you cannot transplant an oak tree from England and then it grows the same way here.
Yeah, it
the way
cannot.
it's that side. So you can't get how those things are that side. There's a reason some of those things are happening that side
Yeah.
and they're not happening here.
People don't
before you
have
come,
problems.
We have our very serious problems.
I think people have too much
Do the
time on their
landslides and what, there are potholes.
potholes, corruption, like there's so much
what,
going on.
and then you want to identify. Okay, I also identify as rich. Where has that brought us?
Let's bring the money. The money is about to wait. The truck is coming in with the
Yes,
money.
me, I can see it. You cannot see. So,
But okay. So what if now you're actually rich and you have a court case and you lose and you have to pay back? Can you just say, me, I'm poor?
me, I'm poor. I identify as a
That's
poor
it.
person.
I don't have money. I'm poor.
I'm poor. You know, some of those things are easy. You can now prove and what, but where did, I think, is it the UN?
You can now prove, but everything can be proved.
Some UN thing where they're allowing, is it pedophilia?
United Nations World Health Organization's current attempt at child grooming. This speech is part of my longer essay on this topic published yesterday in The Spectator Online. The World Health Organization has orchestrated a framework for health and education policymakers called Standards for Sexuality Education in Europe. Only last month, the World Health Organization tried to expand this agenda worldwide and failed to get the numbers for now. Not to be outdone, the UN has a complementary framework called the International Guidance on Sexuality Education. The World Health Organization and the UN preferred framework demands that sex education begin at birth and under the state's guidance, not the parents. In their own words, quote, "This framework aims to empower children and young people to develop respectful sexual relationships. These skills can help children and young people form respectful and healthy relationships with romantic or sexual partners. By age 4, the child will have knowledge of biological reproduction and sexuality sufficient to differentiate between heterosexual and homosexual behaviour and will be taught about consent. Under 4, by age 6, children will be exposed to education on intercourse, masturbation and pornography. By age 9, these will be actually taught with the intent of achieving an adult knowledge with the assumption these 9-year-olds would have had their first sexual encounter. Well, they will now. By age 12, the World Health Organization will place all this knowledge into the appropriate political context, thereby destroying our kids' chances of ever having a loving, monogamous relationship. Children are impressionable and in early formative years can be scarred for life. Adult sexual content has no place in the child's education in the way these monsters propose. It's time to get out of the pervert's paradise that the UN and its agencies have become.
They're trying. That's a whole.
That
Me, I
past
believe.
that they're allowing that whole thing of having
Me, I believe
sex being
this whole agenda is just to try and get pedophilia into the thing. Because by the time you're allowing, now they're going to start saying, they're actually already campaigning for this because they want to say, they're born like that.
Yeah.
So it's not their fault who they like or what. It's just natural that's who they are attracted to. So they should also be given rights, just like the gay people are given. What? So it's just a whole agenda.
Masturbators also need to stand up and have their rights. I don't know what their rights are because it seems everyone is trying to stand up and create their own rights everywhere.
Anyway, let
Thieves
us
also need their rights.
Us here in Uganda, for those who know, Uganda still jammed the gay bill. So
Yeah.
let's first battle that before we start thinking about
Any other
other white people problems.
Yeah, I think that is all for today,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe. This is Sheila and Jamal.
And you can also share with us the nice identities you would want to have if you want to identify as rich, broke,
or any other thing. You
a
can
lion.
identify also as a building.
out a building.
Who knows? I identify as the Eiffel Tower.
You know,
People should visit
you
me.
can be someone's son and just go into their house and sit. Oh, I'm your son.
I'm your
No,
son.
that
Yeah,
is it.
identify as
Anyway,
Bunda's
share
son.
those.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Lindsey Graham, and I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Why? Because you are not stupid, and these children are not stupid. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat. You may also think correctly that if I truly believe I'm a cat, I have a mental disorder. If I suffer from a mental disorder, and if I am unable to discern reality, am I safe to be around children? Would you put me in charge of making critical decisions about the safety and well-being of children and about the direction of their education when I cannot even discern truth from fiction? Confession. I'm not actually a cat, guys, just because I say I am. You've not agreed to or committed to addressing me as a cat simply because I demand it. No tail, whiskers, or outfit makes me a cat, just like no lipstick, high heels, or long hair makes him a man, a woman. It is just as biologically impossible for me to become a cat as it is for a man to be a woman. And you have one job as members of this school board, and it's defined as this. School board members are responsible for broad, forward-thinking, minute analysis and decisive action in all areas that affect students and staff in their schools. I ask you, do you believe that the actions of a grown man playing dress-up as a woman affects the students and staff positively or negatively? A public school is not the place for social experiments in altered realities or gender ideologies. It is not the place to celebrate a grown man with a mental illness, dressing as a woman, and teaching kids lies. Children come to school to learn facts and truths about reality, including unchanging biological truths about science and nature, not to learn that they can change biological realities and become anything they want in the name of diversity. What you're actually doing is worse than just lying to our kids. You're forcing them to be participants in your lie, in your charade. You're forcing them to deny what they see with their eyes, and you're forcing them to speak lies. I ask you again, am I a cat? And if you say no, then the mindset must be aligned with your discernment across the board. By allowing a falsity to be displayed and paraded around the school, you teach children that truth is not existent, facts are not real, and biology is a lie. You fail at your job, your only job, by confusing children and teaching them untruths and to coddle a grown man playing dress up as a woman. If you were to address me as a cat right now, it's as ridiculous as when you say Miss Bixler and a grown man's voice comes thundering over the...
Thank you.